I left Christianity, religion, and fundamentalist churches, I realized that churches teach and provide their members with conversion therapy if someone is suspected of being gay or has come out under the age of 21. Now, I didn't know much about conversion therapy, especially growing up in a home where I honestly felt like my parents, my community would rather have me dead than be gay. That's the environment I grew up in. And looking back, I'm not going to say I would not have supported conversion therapy, because before 2019, I probably would have agreed with it, because I did believe, being a homophobe and a Baptist Calvinistic Christian, that being gay or anything non-heterosexual was okay. Because I was raised in an environment that glorified heterosexuality and viewed anything that wasn't heterosexual as evil. And I mean really evil, unnatural, twisted, just gross. And looking back, I don't want anything to do with institutions that view people that way. And in the last 20 years, I've heard that there has been a big jump in liberal, progressive churches, non-denominational churches, that have rejected the idea that being anything that isn't heterosexual goes against God's design. I'm happy that churches are being more accepting. Because even if you don't believe that anything beyond heterosexuality is right and okay, you can't deny that biology proves that humans are not the only groups of individuals that don't adhere 100% of the time to anything that can't or isn't heterosexuality. There are groups of animals. I mean, I heard of 2 penguins that got married many years ago. And I want to say it's ignorance, because they just don't understand how the world works. But it's 2025, okay? 2025. You can pick up a magazine, you can Google anything. For someone not to know how the basics of orientation and sexuality is just ludicrous. We're not 13 years old anymore. I mean, to believe that somebody is so wrong they need to be fixed shows just how evil these ideas are. And you can call them conversion therapy camps. I call them torture camps. They're really internment camps. The same, maybe not as drastic as the ones that the Jews faced under the Nazis, but there has been physical harm, psychological and mental torment because of how people are viewed and how their sexuality is going to damn them to hell. Luckily, I don't believe in hell anymore, so I don't have to deal with that huge bomb. But oh boy, just the awful way people view heterosexuality is just sad. They act like it's something you choose. It's not. And you can choose whether or not you want to act on your desires. I mean, I may be cis and heterosexual. I've never been in a relationship. I've never been married or engaged or had kids. You can be heterosexual and not act on it. But I don't act on it because it's wrong, or because I don't understand who I am. I don't act on it because it's not something I want to do. Not because it's wrong. And just because you're gay doesn't mean, or even trans, well, I'm going to retract trans and put bi or pan. Just because you have an orientation doesn't mean you have to act on it. I mean, asexuals, they're all about not acting on things because it's not what they want, or it's not something they understand, or something they desire. So just because you identify as a specific group with a label doesn't mean you're going to act on it. I'm just tired of being in communities where they act like normal behavior is a judgment from God. It's exhausting. And yeah, society at this time just doesn't understand or consistently support groups of people. But compared to 50 or 100 years ago, we've jumped through so many hoops to gain some equal rights, protections under the law, marriage. 100 years ago, getting married would not have even entered most people's heads as possible. Luckily now, last Monday, we actually, the Supreme Court looked again at I think it was 2014, 2015, I can't remember. But they decided not to overturn same-sex marriage. Finally, the Supreme Court does something that's decent. I wish they had done the same thing with Roe versus Wade, but I don't understand why people can't accept someone for who they are. If you're that uncomfortable with how somebody is and how they see themselves, you're the problem. And I mean, I feel bad, like really, really, really bad for people who grow up in families that are incapable of accepting them for who they are. Why did it tell me to go there? And it's really true. Everybody has the right to live their life the way they want, even if it makes groups of people uncomfortable. Deal with it. Maybe confront your own prejudice, why you hate this. And I grew up in that environment where I honestly believe that if anybody I knew came out for any reason, my parents would not accept it. I mean, they have not accepted my atheism with grace, I'll tell you that. Unless your goal is to completely ignore that I ever came out. If that's your goal, then okay. But woohoo! It's just terrible. Just terrible, terrible, terrible. Luckily, almost half of the U.S. states made it illegal for anyone under the age of 18 to be taken or forced to endure conversion camps. I love that. The only thing I don't love is that it's not all 50 states. Like, why hasn't the Supreme Court made that one illegal? Like, and people who say, oh, well, you're gonna hamper our religious freedom. My response is, that's not religious freedom. That's indoctrination. And if you're so adamant that you don't like the way somebody lives or the way somebody is because you're uncomfortable with the reality that 18 to 22% of the population isn't going to be heterosexual, that sounds like a you problem. And a lot of this homophobia stems from environments that don't educate kids on diversity and inclusion. I mean, I had never taken an inclusion class until I was 25 at work, because I was homeschooled in fundamentalist Christian curriculum from Florida. So, conversion camps are evil. And anyone who thinks that they can change who you are to fit some archaic standard that was written around the time the wheel was invented, I'm not going to say homophobic people who believe in conversion camp are mentally ill, but the things they do at those camps are mentally ill. There is abuse and torture that happens in conversion camps. It's not okay. Luckily, a lot of the survivors from conversion camps have given testimony in front of state legislature and Congress to set up state laws that prohibit these kind of things. Everyone has a right to be who they are. And it's perfectly fine to constantly change the label or what you are until you find what you are. Some people become atheists and then a few years later figure out they're more agnostic. That's perfectly fine. If you say you're gay and a few years later, you do more research, you find out more things, and you think, maybe I'm more bi than gay, you can always readjust what label you have. Life is an adventure. You're not changing who you are. You're learning what is the best, most honest version of yourself. And a lot of asexual people, they didn't even know what asexuality was until they were midway through their life, especially if you were born before 2000. And I've lived in states where it was illegal to live what you are and be whom you are and just enjoy life without living a lie. But conversion camps, nothing good comes out of conversion camps. It is wicked. You're not confused. You're not mentally ill. You're trying to find out who you are. And it's okay to be a little confused or a little unsure. It's okay to have no clue who and what you are. You're not mentally ill because you've been indoctrinated by society and church to believe something that is not right about you. The best part about life is discovering who you are and why it matters. So, hopefully, everybody just respects each other and tolerates people. Stop harping and sending wrong messages out there. Let people be who they are. And if they don't know who they are, then do your best to help them find out who they are. Because I think that's more important than anything.